Could the plans for Roman Reigns be right in front of us? Looking ahead at WrestleMania, could WWE really be teasing things this early for the Tribal Chief? And yes, WrestleMania is all the way in April, but WWE has a tendency that around Survivor Series time, we get a little bit of a clue as to what they might be doing with certain superstars. So we got some names for you today, ladies and gentlemen, about who could Roman Reigns face and why? The first name is going to be your current World Heavyweight Champion. I want to explore this one with you, CM Punk. On Monday Night Raw, you had Cody Rhodes and CM Punk standing in the ring with Roman Reigns, and Roman looking at both belts, but then really eyeballing CM Punk and that World Heavyweight Championship and saying how that title might look so good around his shoulder. This is an interesting one, and one that they have not fully explored. We already have some really good history, modern history of Punk and Roman Reigns. The favor with Paul Heyman that really started coming around at last year's Survivor Series when Punk and Roman Reigns were teaming together for War Games for the first time, leading all the way to WrestleMania, where we found out that the favor was going to be not only getting that main event spot at WrestleMania from Paul Heyman when they signed the contract, but also CM Punk's real favor of having Paul Heyman walk him out, do his entrance, and manage him for that match. When then it all broke down, Paul Heyman turned his back on both Roman and Punk and decided, and the vision was born. But I would love to see the whole dynamic between Roman and Punk with that world title involved for WrestleMania. That, in my eyes, is a Night 2 main event. You heard me, Cody. But it would be a great matchup to see the dynamics, do those cinematic sit-downs like they did last year, where you had Punk and Heyman and Roman sitting at the table. Paul Heyman being a non-factor in this situation too, I think makes it just nice and clean cut, and you have two supremely over baby faces. It's a big thing to say, but a modern day Rock Austin situation. Two baby faces with the title involved, kind of like a WrestleMania 17 situation, and you could end it with a giant story beat. Now, do you have in that scenario a Roman Reigns winning the World Heavyweight Championship from CM Punk? Does Punk retain? How do you get there? Roman Reigns could become a two-time Royal Rumble winner. And if he won the Rumble and decided he was going to go after Punk in that world title, to me that really does cement and elevate the World Heavyweight Championship kind of on par with the WWE title. I know WWE loves the WWE Championship. That is title A. World title is always title B. It just is. But when you have somebody like a Roman Reigns, the top superstar of the modern era, going after the world title, that elevates it. It shows that it's a value that's important. Punk is, yes, very over. One of their absolute top guys. But that world title, it matters a little bit more with who is actually going after it. And Roman Reigns would definitely bring that up. Now, if you do that match at WrestleMania, whether Roman wins or loses, you do have the element of Seth Rollins coming back after WrestleMania. Roman with the world title, I think, just looks cool. We know he's only around periodically, so I don't find the odds huge that he would get that world title. Punk could retain, thus elevating CM Punk even higher by beating Roman Reigns. And then again, you still have the element of Seth Rollins after WrestleMania, and that could be the story for SummerSlam or the following year's WrestleMania and Seth's journey to get his title back that he never lost. I will put a little asterisk here, and I didn't have it in my notes, but as I started walking through all of this, it made me think, what if Seth Rollins, we'll talk about him in a second more in depth, but what if Seth Rollins did come back and they redid the triple threat? They did it last year, but now you do it as Night 2, but the world title is involved. Seth comes back from injury, inserts himself into a triple threat, and if Seth is like 80%, 90% okay with the shoulder and the arm, a triple threat could maybe protect him a little bit more. So let's talk about Seth Rollins. Seth versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think before Roman hangs up his boots finally in a couple of years' time, this match needs to happen at WrestleMania. Now, Seth was just on Bert Kreischer's show with Becky Lynch, and they sat down and talked about a bunch of different topics, but one of the things that he did mention very early on was that maybe this whole shoulder thing, this arm thing, is going to be okay by April. WrestleMania 42 is Saturday and Sunday, April 18th and 19th. I hope, just in general, I just hope that Seth does come back sooner rather than later. He is healthy. If he does, he's a machine. And it's such a short amount of time since he was injured, written off TV, and being able to get right back into it in WrestleMania season, that's a quick turnaround. Him versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, if Seth could get back in time, could be one of the best stories they could tell. The amount of history from the Shield, the betrayals, separating, being mortal enemies at this point, WrestleMania 40, WrestleMania 41, and continuing it to WrestleMania 42. No title involved, but how do you really tell that story of Seth coming back and being maybe even a babyface, and Roman Reigns being cemented as a real babyface right now with the fans? Maybe Seth will be a little more heelish. He keeps his current persona. Why change it? It's just that with any return, you generally get that babyface pop. But I started to think about how you could build this in a way that works for both guys. And if Seth is on a very tight window of can you make it back in time and healthy, I think you could do almost a Triple H Undertaker scenario and build. And they were going to have their match at WrestleMania. All you had was Undertaker in the ring and Triple H's music hit. They walked down, got in the ring face to face. They looked at the WrestleMania sign. That was it. And that's how they booked that match. There was no beatdown, nothing. It just was looking at the sign and people knew that this was going to be a huge match. I think you could do something very similar with Seth and Roman. Roman having no opponent all the way to Mania. And you could get 3 weeks before WrestleMania and all you need is Seth's music to hit. He walks down, he's ready to go, and he looks at Roman Reigns and they just look at the WrestleMania sign and that's it. Because then you allow the next couple of weeks on TV to just let the story build, unfold, and you have these two going at it to see who is the ultimate, who is number one. And can Seth really finally beat Roman Reigns? Doing it on his own, no vision, no Paul Heyman, no shenanigans, and same for Roman Reigns. He has no bloodline, nobody else involved with this. Just the two guys to prove who is the ultimate best. But maybe they want to do something different with Roman, and maybe you want to go in a younger direction. Braun Breaker is out there. Now, Braun Breaker in my eyes right now, I don't know about you, but for me, he has completely cooled off. Since he speared Seth Rollins and he just broke off and started recreating his own vision with Logan Paul and Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman, he's really taken a back seat. Now, the time I'm recording this, it's before War Games. And the build to Survivor Series, there's a lot of people involved. Logan Paul, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. You have all of your Cody Rhodes. You have all of your main names, your biggest headliners and superstars. It's a lot. And because of that, it seems like guys like Braun Breaker really have to take a back seat for the all-stars, as WWE even says. Now, do I think Braun Breaker wins the Royal Rumble? Right now, currently, not really. I think that he is just going to be doing his own thing with the vision all the way to Mania. But he has had this story and feud with Roman Reigns since the vision started. Raw after Mania, he speared Roman Reigns. He took him out. Same with CM Punk. Braun Breaker could be the one to challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. One-on-one, no title, and they could end this chapter for Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns. There needs to be a payoff. We haven't had this match. We've seen Bronson Reed twice, but we have yet to have the Braun Breaker-Roman Reigns match. They could very well be saving this to WrestleMania, because you have War Games, where Braun Breaker could really stand out, maybe do something devastating to Roman Reigns. Their Saturday night's main event, Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. And because Roman Reigns isn't on TV a ton, you do have enough time and road to be able to get to WrestleMania. Braun Breaker in the Rumble itself could simply eliminate Roman Reigns, thus setting up their match to have this big payoff. And you have an entire year to look back on to build as a story. And the element of Paul Heyman walking Braun Breaker out to the ring. As I think about this too, you know what would be hilarious is if they did the Braun Breaker Roman match, Heyman is out there, maybe somehow, some way Braun Breaker wins, and after that, do you have Seth return and he ends up siding with Roman Reigns? So you get Roman and Seth tagging together. You just need Moxley out there, but you get Seth and Roman tagging together to go up against the Vision. The enemy of my enemy kind of story. But if they don't do that story, you also have, and I wrote this down, just get ready, Brock Lesnar. We have done the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns story to death. Do I really need to see it as a fan? Not really. I'm totally happy that we just end that and that's it. But they have been doing the teases and the beatdown brawls leading up to War Games of Brock and Roman, going eye to eye, and whenever they get in the ring, they attack each other. When they first went face to face again on Raw, it did make me think, ooh, that could be kind of interesting. It's not a main event match. It doesn't have to be for a title. But you can kind of close the entire book on Brock and Roman. If everybody else is kind of occupied with their own storyline and you're left with Roman Reigns doing nothing, Brock Lesnar is obviously a headlining act that they would want to feature. And with no titles and Paul Heyman maybe walking Brock Lesnar out, I think it's at least a different wrinkle than what we have seen for so many years, where it was Roman versus Brock for the WWE Championship and the Undisputed titles and doing all of that and Vince McMahon just pushing it down our throats. I think you have something where you have two guys nearing the end of their career, and you can close that book. Now, speaking of books, stories, Cody Rhodes, he finished his story. He beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, the big crowning moment and achievement for him. Do you finish the whole story, though, at WrestleMania? Do you take Roman Reigns and have him win the Rumble, as an example, and not going for the world title, but turning back and saying, I'm going after the WWE Championship one more time, and Roman trying to see if he can do it all on his own? Him versus Cody, you get part 3. The history is all there, but how do you make it just not the standard two baby faces having a match with no real consequence other than, well, the title is there? And maybe people will groan and say, I don't want Roman Reigns with the title anymore. It doesn't make any sense because he's not around as much. We went through years of Roman Reigns being champion and not being around for a month at a time, 2 months at a time. The interesting piece here is, I think, Roman not having Paul Heyman or the bloodline being really involved because he's more on the babyface side. Roman seeing if he can really do this on his own, all on his own, no interference, no nothing, and beat Cody. What I think would be more interesting is that if Roman did pick up the belt, Cody Rhodes, what happens to him? In that moment of Cody losing it, maybe being more arrogant, full of himself because he is champion, does Cody lose the belt and become a bad guy? Or does he turn heel in the match with Roman? I would also wonder if the crowd itself would be split and you get Cody Rhodes getting booed leading to WrestleMania. Maybe the desired outcome that they really want. Get Cody to become a bad guy so then he can go on for the next 12 months in a different role. Roman Reigns holding the title and holding it down as the champion so that he can go and do the press and the interviews and everything, and he can be the guy still. Cody can go on his detour path, fighting Randy Orton and a lot of other guys, but now in the heel role, which would change it up a lot. And my long shot, and I'm not saying I want this, and I really think that there's just a 2% chance that this would ever happen because I think it's long gone, but the final boss, The Rock. It felt like Mania 40, Mania 41, it was now or never. Can The Rock get in ring shape one more time to do this at WrestleMania 42, to fight Roman Reigns one-on-one for just the big Legends match that would be Rock and Roman? They could do it. They'd have to start planning for it now. For all I know, it's ridiculous, and Final Boss walks out at Survivor Series, and he challenges Roman Reigns there or plants some seeds. If they're ever going to do it, it's now or never, but by all accounts, The Rock could be very much retired and not in any way coming back in a physical capacity. I do think that road is closed personally. I don't think that there's a shot anymore, but it's wrestling and you never know. But if you guys want to have a laugh and talk about WWE creative for a second, click this video right here because that's exactly what we're doing in this video. Have a great day. See ya.